Hey, everybody, welcome back to All Things Pink, where we discuss all things women over 40. And today I'm so lucky to have with me my beautiful friend, Moira Bogley, and we are going to discuss how to be a successful professional and a badass rock star.
Out in the open to the horizon, where your heart can finally breathe. Out in the open to the horizon, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild. You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild.
So, welcome to my show, Moira.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good now that I'm here.
Okay. We always have these, like, actually happened to me this earlier today. Everything like falls apart.
Oh, yeah.
Like coffee's everywhere. Trying to get in the car. I'm like menopausal sweating to death,
Oh.
that kind of thing. And I was like, so yeah, that's how today's gonna go. Right?
Yeah, well, we got this, so.
Exactly. So welcome again to my show. And I would love to tell our viewers how we know each other.
Okay. Well, we know each other through music, which is how I have met so many friends, honestly. I love my work because it provides me an opportunity to do other things, and music is one of those things. And it's just opened my world to so many people, so many just dear friendships.
Yeah, so I met you technically, I guess through my brother. I'm
Probably,
guessing,
yeah.
because my brother is a guitarist, and it's kind of like in that world, it becomes one giant family of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Especially in
this
this area.
this common ground. I guess like well, it's also outside of the area because then like other people outside of just like the town of Frederick,
Yeah.
and then it's like all over the states, people just kind of like I guess you would call that like common interests.
Common interests, networking, support. Everybody's
Oh yeah,
supporting everyone else. And that's huge in this area.
of
Really
course.
supporting other musicians and providing opportunity.
So what do you do as a profession, like your day job, if you will? Because technically I would consider music a profession of sorts as well.
It can be. For me, it is not, unfortunately. But my day job is I am a director of conflicts and new business at a patent and trademark firm. And I've been there for 24 and a half years.
Wow.
So, as my daughter says, some people live to work and other people work to live. I work to live. Don't get me wrong, I love the people I work with, and I am a kick ass manager, but that's not my life. That's not who I am.
What made you to like decide to do that? What made you get into that field?
Being poor. Graduating college back in 1988 before the internet and seeing letters saying my loans were coming in and having no money. So I just set my resume everywhere, and a law firm saw me and said, "Do you like to do research?" And I'm like, I mean, kind of, sort of, yeah. And hired me. And I was so excited to have a job that I didn't even ask them what the salary was. That's how green I was. And they're like, "We're really happy to have you, but do you want to know what the salary is?" And I'm like, "Sure." And they're like, "It's 18,500."
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God, like a year?
yeah. But
But
this
well,
was
that was
this
a long
was
time ago.
1989, 88. So I don't know what that would be. It was livable, but damn. I was desperate, and luckily it was a field that exploded,
Yeah.
and every law firm had to have a me because they could no longer depend on attorneys yelling down the hall and saying, "Hey, is this a problem?" "No, dude, it's not a problem. You're good." They needed somebody looking out for the interests of the clients and the attorneys. And that became me,
Gotcha.
and people liked me. And so I just moved around. This is my fourth law firm, and I've been there for a while, and I've just steadily grown in the field.
That's actually a good thing though, I think that back then we had different expectations than young people do now. I think young people or people just in general are focusing on instant gratification versus what it takes to grow in a field or start a business or like because people hear me talk about this all the time. Is it like, how did you do that? And like I want to do that. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure you have what it takes? Because
It's being humble
yeah.
and knowing that I don't know everything. And I don't know if is much of that now because a lot of people have FOMO and there's exposure to all these possibilities and it's social media where everything looks better than it really is.
Truth.
So a lot of people think, oh, I'm not doing as well as that person is. And they probably are, and they're probably doing just fine. But presentation is everything, and presentation can sometimes be a lie. So a lot of this generation, because I hire as well, doesn't understand sacrifice and being at the bottom of the ladder and working your way up and achieving something, and that it takes time. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes patience, and it takes a lot of hard work. And if you put all that in, you will be seen.
Oh yeah.
You will be seen, but I don't think that's translated very well over the years,
Oh, I
honestly.
totally agree. I look back on jobs that I've had and like the work that I've had to do and I hire people
Yeah.
too. I've got to interview people and it's one of the most frustrating things is that
Hmm.
everybody wants that job, I'm like, "Do ya?" Because then I hire people and they want the paycheck,
Yeah.
but they don't want to come to work. Like
Yes.
I don't understand that.
Yes.
Like, and coming from like
It's the
our generation,
sacrifice.
I'm just like, if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. So I don't understand like what happened or like where that took place because
Well, side ramp, I just saw something on the news the other day, and there's like revenge quitting, where you're just like, dude, you don't want to go to work. Don't go to work. Don't give them 2 weeks' notice. You don't need to give them two
oh
weeks'
my
notice.
God.
And I thought, well, that's going to look really good for your next employer. And I don't think there is an understanding of consequences that
Yeah.
people are watching. I'm watching because I care about who I'm hiring. So there is a trend, and I think it's all that theme of wanting gratification, wanting everything on your plate now, and not realizing there are steps involved. And sometimes you're going to have a job that sucks. Sometimes you're going to have a boss that sucks, but you will learn from that. You will learn from those experiences, as difficult as they are and as painful as they can be. And I've had them. I've
Oh
had
yeah.
awful bosses. One of the worst migraines I've ever had in my life was because of a really bad situation. And I never had a migraine before that. And just, and it's how I counsel my kids. Like, it's not going to be perfect. There are things you're going to really hate, but work through them and realize that this could be very temporary. And if it, but do your best and realize that you will learn from this. You will absolutely learn from this.
Oh
And I
yeah.
feel like I'm a really good manager because I learned exactly what I didn't want to be. I wanted to be exactly the opposite of some of the management that I had in my life. I said, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be the person that people are excited to work with. And I can say that I am. I may not be the best at every little aspect of my job, but I'm really good at finding people and rewarding people and honoring them and seeing them. And one of the best compliments you can receive as a manager is somebody saying, I feel seen. For the first time, I feel seen. I feel recognized. I feel
That's awesome.
advocated for. And I told my kids, I said, maybe I'm not my job because I'm so many other things like music and these are things,
Yeah.
but I am I have built myself into a manager and more than that, a person that people feel sees them. And that's worth something.
Oh, of course it is. And I think we spend so much time with the people that we work with.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's important that the anyone in management or anyone overseeing anything remembers that. Because we do spend, I mean,
Yeah,
you
your
spend
family.
like,
They're your family in a
gosh, like
way.
50% of your time sometimes, sometimes more than that.
Yeah.
I was trying to be conservative,
Well,
but
honestly, when I
yeah,
interview people, it's almost like an audition because I'm like, okay, after 1 hour, your interview face is gone, and now I know who you really are. And
yeah,
can I work with you? Can we work with you for this amount of time? Are you going to blend into this little family that we've built? And your instincts are pretty good on that.
and it's really hard too. One of the job parts of the job, because I have to manage people. My assistant, I tend to like try to shove that off a little bit more on her.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, but like, um, but it's a really difficult thing. I think sometimes when like you don't want to have to let somebody go. Sometimes it's a wonderful thing. Like
Sometimes it's a
sometimes it's
sometimes
like,
it's a
oh, thank
relief.
goodness, but other times, if you ever run up against where you like really feel bad that you have to do it. I have.
Not in work, in music. Yes, not in work. In work, it was a relief. Um, Luckily, in 2 out of 3 instances, they saw the writing on the wall and checked out. In the third instance, they kind of didn't, but presented themselves in a way where it made it really easy. And I was like, bye.
Yeah.
I was so happy. I was so happy that day just because it was like, I didn't want to work with this person. Now they're gone. So yay.
Well, I love when like things kind of iron themselves out,
Yep.
you know. Always pray for that. Um, do you find challenges, and could go for either your music career or the
Hmm.
professional career. Do you find challenges being a woman versus a male?
Yes. Not so much in music. In work, um, not so much now, but I've seen it. And I'm not one of those people that looks for drama and controversy and slights, but I had been treated differently because I speak my mind.
Hmm.
I am, for better or for worse, I speak my mind. And sometimes my editor doesn't kick in as quickly as it probably should. And I've been in work situations in the past where I've just been very blunt because I thought we're talking man to man. And I can be blunt. I'm not being rude, but I'm telling
Right.
you exactly how I feel because we can work through this. And the reaction has been offense from the male counterpart. Whereas I've seen that same male counterpart dealing with another male and it wasn't a big deal. And I
Yeah.
really thought for the first time, okay, that's what they're talking about. Okay. And I was not looking for it. It was just there. And I thought, dude, I'm way too old to be treated like this. Like,
Oh yeah. I've already paid my
I'm
dues.
I was shocked. I mean, he was older, so I gave him a little bit of leeway, but I was shocked. I was surprised because I just wasn't expecting it. It was
Yeah.
something that happened to other people a long time ago, not to me now, and this was maybe in 2010, I think.
Well, you're in the 2000s. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like I even say now when I encounter something like this, people often hear me say, "It's 2025. Are we like seriously still here?"
I think people expect women to be gentler, and don't think I've ever been accused of being gentle. I can be, but in work, I'm just like, hey, we're all here. We're all just like being honest with each other. We're
Yeah.
being very direct. Like I said, direct doesn't have to be rude. I'm just being direct because I don't want to spend time dancing around a subject because I really don't care that much. Let's just get through this.
Yeah.
And I think that was a surprise to people and like, well, who do you think you are? And, I don't know, I work here. So I have seen that, not in music, not in the arts. In the arts, I've not seen that. I I think the one caveat to that would be, so maybe this plays into that, is with my two bands ago. I can remember going to a bar, and when people would walk in, men and women, it's like, oh, it's a female singer. You could see it in their face. You sometimes could hear it, and you were just,
Wow.
and it was kind of like, what,
Like, what the hell does that even mean?
I
Like,
mean,
what is that
maybe they
about?
thought, and I said, oh, wait, I'm going to bring it. I am going
Oh,
to
I've no
bring
doubt about that.
it. And you had to prove yourself. And I thought, well, are they just like that with it? But it was absolutely because it was a female singer. And I think there's this idea that you're going to be gentler in your approach. So maybe you're going to sing rock, but it's going to not really be aggressive. And
Oh,
it's not going to, and when I sing, I'm I'm always looking at the lyrics and thinking about the story that's being told and
right.
presenting it that way. And sometime and learning my craft. I mean, I studied opera for 4 years so I could sing rock. And I think when they saw a woman, and my husband saw it too, he's like, yeah, you could see it. It's the thought was, yeah, it's gonna be just a woman
Gotcha.
singing with the band. And so it was up to me to prove that, no, that's not what it's going to
I
be.
think that's frustrating for women to feel like they kind of always have to prove themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of
I mean, to me, I took it as a challenge because I'm like,
right on.
I I don't I never walk in like I'm the best in the room because there's always someone better. And I am a big tent person. I believe that there's room for all of us. I
Of
really, really
course.
believe that. But I'm going to be the best me, or try to be. So when I was fronting a band, I'm going to go and I'm going to give a kick ass performance. I am going to bring it.
Yeah.
And everything that leads up to that night when I'm singing, I will discipline myself and get my voice ready and I will make it a show. So I took it as a challenge. So all
Right.
the naysayers out there, the people that, were thinking, oh, it's a female singer. I didn't know it was going to be a female singer tonight. I'm like, this ain't going to be karaoke, folks.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with karaoke because I do love some karaoke, but it's different. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I took it every time as a challenge until they got to know me and say, "Oh, I want to come see her sing." So to me, it was maybe on the fringes disappointing because you see it,
Yeah.
but again, a challenge. Like,
And I
wait.
think that's really important. I think that we should be taking those kind of naysayers or having to prove ourselves and use it as fuel instead
Oh,
of taking offense to
100%.
it. We can totally use it as fuel.
I do. And I did. And you could see it in their faces. Sometimes you heard the comments. But then when the show started, it was like, here we go.
And I've heard you sing. So, like, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Like, absolutely amazing. A total powerhouse. So, that's kind of funny. I would have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to have seen the comments in the face after you started singing because
Well, and my husband always remembers this story. And this was my band before Ragged Maggie. And we were playing at this bar, and these were friends coming. And so they're like, oh, we're going to support Maura. That'll be really fun. So they came, and it was a really, really good show. I played with some just amazing, amazing musicians, great harmony, the whole thing. And after the show, this friend of ours, gentleman, said to my husband, he goes, I didn't know. I didn't know. We're like, and we always just thought it was like, it's okay. It's okay. But it was just the sweetest, most honest, like, because, everybody wants to support their friends, but
Oh, of
without
course.
knowing whether they're any good or not,
And
you
even if they're
know,
not, you're like, I'm gonna like it anyway.
I'm gonna
Like,
support you because you're living your dream. And I think that was their approach, was like, we haven't seen any of her shows. Let's just go out and support her. And my husband just he loved that reaction because he was so proud of me and he thought I was really good. And for a friend to say, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know
yeah.
it was going to be this good. And it wasn't just me, it
It's a
was the
very
entire
honest
band.
response.
The entire band was just a great band. And he was just so proud. And it made me laugh because
Of
I was like,
course.
yeah, I'm pretty good.
I would
I'm
say
pretty,
far from that, but
but yeah. I mean, so I do think my feelings weren't hurt. Not at all, because you got to know what you got. You know what you have.
yeah.
And okay, that's your reaction because that's what you expect. Now it's up to me to surprise you and delight you. And
Yeah.
that's what I did.
And I think it's really I talk a lot about people being dynamic, dynamic women, and I
Hmm.
think it's you have this kind of polar opposite thing going on, you know,
Hmm.
the front woman
Yeah.
in the rock band, the super professional position that you hold. And I think it's wonderful. Do you have any have you ever had trouble balancing it?
I would say I think I bring a little bit of both. Probably more of my love of the arts and my singing to the way I manage. I don't take myself too seriously at work. I said, I manage my department like we are here to do a great job. We are being supported. I will support, but manage expectations and let's have a really good time together. We need to laugh. We're going to be here working with each
Right.
other, and I entertain them and they entertain me. We just do stupid things all day. We like make jokes, we sing, we just all in the context of working at this law firm and doing some very serious work. So I think I let my personality bleed into both areas. And it keeps me sane and it keeps me who I am. Like,
Right.
yeah, I put on my corporate hat and I go to work and I'm doing a very serious job, but I'm still me.
I
And
think that's important. I think
yeah.
it's totally okay to be multifaceted.
Mhm.
And I think it's good for us as human beings to be able to do whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever like the all the different things. I think you meet people and you hear, "Oh, well, this is what they do," but it's not necessarily the full extent of who they are.
Right. And who I am, I go back to is being, I've always wanted to be, if I'm going to manage people, I want to be the safe place for them where I'm supporting you and families first, always. I don't care if your family is your dog. Family first. I want to be your
That's
comfort zone
unusual.
and and they'll tell me that. I'm like, sick dog, stay home. Sick family member,
What?
stay home.
You let people stay home because they have a sick dog?
Hell yes, I do.
Wow.
Hell yes, I
That's
do.
unusual.
Hell yes, I do. Because I would want somebody to do that for me.
That's
If
wonderful.
when my dog was sick and dying, unfortunately, I couldn't come to work. And I told my boss at the time, I can't come into work. And it was looked on as not really understanding, but okay.
Right,
And
right.
so that was just one more thought in my head. Okay, when I'm in power, this
When you're in
will
power.
change. And it does change. And my department will tell you, like, I don't care what's going on. I'm not a micromanager. I trust you. I love working with you. Your happiness matters. And because your happiness matters and we work together and I trust you, everything else is going to fall into place. So you tell me what you need and let's see how we make it happen. And because I respect you and because you do such a great job, why wouldn't I say, please don't come into work today because you're worried about your dog? or
Right.
you're not feeling well, please don't come into work or feel like you need to work and put on a smiley face for me. Why would I do that? If you're already a good person and a hardworking person, somebody I work with and I trust, why would I make your day harder? Why would I make this hard for you? What is the purpose of that? If I already
Yeah.
trust you and trust your intentions, what kind of BS, what kind of BS bookends am I putting on you and saying you
Right.
have to work within this? Why? Why can't we
Well, I
be more
think
flexible?
I think the problem is,
People
and
don't think
I
outside the box. They think, "Oh, well, I
yeah,
have to do this." I'm like, "Well, are you really seeing the person then? Are you really seeing the person?"
if your employee or staff member, or whatever, has been doing a great job and they're loyal and they come to work, they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that flexibility. Frankly, I would love to be able to just not have to micromanage and I do this. I say, here's your deliverables.
Yep.
Here's the time frame. Bye. Like like I'm good
Yeah.
as long as you actually show up and do them. And I think like that I'm guessing, I'm imagining that kind of attitude of like having to manage is because it's happened so much that people have taken advantage of that. Then we
Right?
shift all the way over into like the mean zone. Where like it's
Well,
like,
and my
does that make
theory, it
sense?
totally
Like,
makes sense because I'm actually side thing. I'm writing a book on management because I think there are too many bad managers out there. And I said, you become a micromanager, which is not managing at all, because you're worried about performance and et
yeah,
cetera, et cetera. But and you're painting with a broad brush. Like if you have someone who's a problem, that's the problem.
right.
That's what you deal with. You don't make these broad sweeping edicts for everyone because then what you're doing is you're saying, doesn't matter what you do, this is what I want. And you're not really looking at the person anymore. And I said, and my theory is, and I live by it, like micromanaging is failed management. It's a failure to manage the actual problems. And you're just like, I just want this to go away. And everybody do this.
So you're kind of touching on basic psychology
Mm-hmm.
of human beings
Yeah.
and how we handle lots of
Yeah.
things.
No,
So
it
it
is.
is, it totally reflects into business and management and relationships and everything. Like there's these basic basic
Well,
psychology that comes into play every time.
I remember my daughter being in third grade and she's extremely bright and is extreme and she just was just a good kid. And she was in this class and if everyone was good, they get to have popcorn. But if one person did something bad, no one got it. And that was
That used
supposed
to
to,
just piss people off.
yeah.
Like that
And
just pisses people off
and
wholly.
my daughter would be crying. She's like, we were so close and then he who shall not be named did something. And so the teacher was like, well, now nobody gets it. And it wasn't motivating anybody. It was making the
It's
good,
developing peer pressure. Like
it was,
that's like
well,
developing.
they thought that everybody was going to riot against this one kid. And no, they were just sad and angry and mad at the teacher. And I thought that's the same with micromanagers. Just like you're not seeing the individual, you're not rewarding the person. You're just trying to make things easier on yourself, but you're not really. You're really making it tough on yourself because you feel like you need to check everything and just hover. And I'm like, let people breathe, let them
Yeah.
be good at what they do, recognize their talent. And if you have someone who's a problem, deal with that. Deal with that.
Well,
Deal with that problem.
yeah, that's where it gets into that line. Like they're, the
You can
way that
tell,
they
you can
handle
see if
stuff.
people are working. I mean, I can tell everybody, including myself. I can tell and I'll be frank. I'm like, guys, I'm struggling today. I need like
Oh,
five,
I say it all the time.
five vats of coffee, or I will bribe and say, I'll buy you the best coffee ever if you do this and I don't have to do it. But just having a natural relationship with people and seeing them.
Oh yeah.
And that's why as a manager, I'm able to say, Why are you asking me if you can stay home with your sick dog? I love you and I love your dog.
I love dogs,
Stay
so
home.
I would
Or
totally
cat.
relate to that. Whatever it
Right.
is, I feel like they're better than humans most of the time. So honestly,
I'm like,
I
this
would
is
probably be
your
okay with this. I would be okay with this.
I'm like, they're just like, all they want to say, I just want to stay home with my dog. Okay. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've worked with you for years. Like, why would I not trust you now? That
I'm just always like, if you just get your work done, I really don't give a crap
where you do
if you
it.
where you do it, if you're standing on your head when you
If
do
you're
it.
in
Like
the
I
bathroom
don't
working on your laptop,
I don't give a crap.
don't
I
care.
just
Don't
yeah,
care.
like I'm more like that
Don't
just
care.
you
Don't
don't need to
care.
tell me because
My
I just want it
life,
done.
my life is not about making other people miserable.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's why we're friends.
Right.
That's why you're
I
here.
think people need to just it's not take yourself too seriously, but it's just open your eyes and just see who's around you and it's like just be a good person in whatever aspect that is and see other people. See them.
And I think that that just is across the board,
Mhm.
between business,
Yep.
personal things. I don't think we're living in a culture right now that is really seeing different sides of anything. So it's gonna be,
The social media genie that you can't put back in the bottle.
oh dear God, like don't even get me started on like how toxic that whole arena can be.
Yeah.
What do you think from on a personal perspective, what do you think the biggest differences are in you from like now versus like 20s and 30s?
Well,
I could say like
physically? No. Now I just turned 60 on Wednesday.
wow.
So I have
Happy
yes.
birthday.
Thank you. I tell my children and I tell everybody I know, I said every decade has been better. I said in your 20s, you're kind of at the bottom of the ladder that we spoke of
Hmm.
when you're graduating. And I said, and you're kind of finding your own way and you don't really know what you want to do. You just want to pay your bills. Um, and you haven't really established yourself yet. Most of us. I mean, maybe now it's a little different, but you know, 30s, you're starting to get a little bit more comfortable. And with me, I have my family. So,
Right.
I was having my babies and, doing that thing where I'm corporate woman and working, but also my most important job was my kids
Yeah.
and raising them and being with them. So 30s were good. 30s was more kind of I don't want to swear. Can I swear?
Yeah.
30s was definitely the beginning of my don't fuck with me era.
Gotcha. 30s. I usually
Definitely,
say this happens, it really starts to happen over the tip of 40.
it definitely does, but 30s was the beginning of just looking around and just saying everything that you're feeling about work, about some of the people that you work with. You may not be able to say it, but your feelings aren't wrong. Just get to a place where you can start to say it
Oh
and where you
yeah.
can have a little more control. Um, I didn't join a band until I was 40. Literally the
Damn.
week after I'd been like in and out of
I feel
bands,
like
but
that
they
makes it
never
even
really
better for me.
launched. They never really
Yeah.
launched, but we had a great time and I started to find my voice more and more and more.
Yeah.
But literally a week after I turned 40, I auditioned for this band. It was my husband. He's just like, get out there. Don't waste
Yeah.
this. Get out there and do it. I'm like, I don't know. So I auditioned and they were like, we want you to front this band. And um, that was
See,
it
now
for
it's even more
me.
amazing to me. Now I love it. I love the story even more because it's like people don't think that they can do stuff like
Oh
that.
my gosh, yes, you
And it
can.
was like after
40,
after 40. Like
40.
I think that is fucking phenomenal.
It was
That's
so,
gonna have to be bleeped.
and
But
the thing I always tell people is whatever your passion is, and it could be several things, whatever your creative side, when you feed that, everything in your life becomes better. I was a better wife. I was a better mother. I was better coworker because I was doing something that fed me creatively.
Yeah.
And I was so happy. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in a band." And and I'm learning to front a band and I'm learning my voice and that I can do different things with my voice. And I'd studied opera for 4 years, not because I wanted to study opera, but because my opera coach said, "I'm not going to teach you to sing rock. I'm going
Yeah.
to teach you to sing opera. And when you can sing opera, you can sing
Yeah.
rock." And I'm like, "Okay." So I was finally able to sing what I really, not that I don't like opera because I do, but I was finally able to sing in the voice that I trained for and to learn about myself and to front a band and to learn to be in a band and to get to do music that I loved. And then a whole other Oprah, I started to, I've been writing songs and, met a guy from one of the basement bands that never took off. And we wrote an entire album of original music together. It was like kind of an indie folk album.
Oh,
So
cool.
that was all part of just my little musical evolution. And it just made me happy. It made me just better at everything because you're no longer sitting on something and be like, okay, well, I'm a mom now and I've got to go to work. So all that's just going to be put on hold.
Yeah.
And if you put it on hold for too long, it starts to build up and you start to be like, ugh, I love this and I love this, but I really want to love this too. And you need to make time for your passions.
I think that's really important. I think that women sacrifice so much. Sometimes they
Mhm.
forget that it's totally and completely okay to
Absolutely.
go after those passions. And I mean, I understand why it gets like that because people look at you
Hmm.
like you can't do that. Like you can't I feel like we can love our kids and be great moms, but also be great people like within ourselves because
Yeah,
I think you can't actually show up 100% if you're miserable. Like if you are denying
you're right.
yourself that
Well,
passion.
I knew women who were just great people, but not happy. They love their kids, don't get me wrong. They absolutely love their
Mhm.
kids, but they were a little resentful and they were felt very like, when do I
They're
get
stuck.
when do I get to do me, the other me's?
Oh
And
yeah.
I would tell them all the time, like, what do you love? Like, take a class, like, make room for just by degrees, like little things that you love to do, or get into something new, like whatever that is. Like, I started making jewelry as
Mhm.
just a way to deal with the lawyers that I work with. Just like I would come home and I'm like, my husband's like, oh my gosh, I smell glue. And I'm like, it's a really rough day, but just just exploring and being creative and finding new things and just growing. And I look at my mom, she'll be 89. She's never stopped growing. She's always like, whether she's doing a crossword puzzle or learning about a new plant or doing something, she's
Oh
always
yeah.
moving and she's always doing something.
I love that.
And, don't be stationary. Learn something new. Whatever you're into, make time for it.
See, I'm
You've
like
got
that
one
all the
life. You have
time.
got one life, and you don't want to look back and be like, I woulda, shoulda, coulda. And at 60, I mean, I don't feel a day over 50, but
Yeah.
but you just, you're at an age where you see loss. You start to see people younger than you not making it and passing away and
Well, you never
and you
actually really know like what is going to happen,
right.
and time is it's so fragile. Life is so fragile. And I don't think people should be denying themselves those basic simple things because they really are.
Yeah.
I find it hard to find enough time in the day to like actually like incorporate all the cool stuff I want to do
Yeah.
because really there'll be like time like on a work day where I'm like I'd really rather be learning like painting or playing with clay like than doing this
Well,
because I really like to do it.
yeah.
But I like to keep myself. I tell Corey all the time, I'm like, I'm gonna be doing this in my 80s. Like when I'm finally retired
Yeah.
from all of that, I'm still gonna be doing this. I want us to still be like zip lining through the jungle and I still
Yes,
want to
same.
be, you know, hiking up the waterfalls and doing all that stuff. I don't care
Right.
I don't think people should stop doing that.
Well, and you see people putting off so much for like that other day, and like, what if that other day doesn't come? And I
I see it a lot
always,
with people with kids thinking that they can't for that reason we were
yeah,
talking about. Is that like, okay, I have to focus here. I have to focus here. And I'm like,
yeah.
what if you don't, like, God forbid, okay? But like, I'm not trying to like manifest anything bad, but we've
No,
seen
but
it happen. We know that we don't have the key to when that's going to happen.
right,
So
yeah.
are we going to be like miserable? Oh, plus also all the years you're wasting.
Yeah. I think about that with retirement too, because they're like, so like
Yeah.
when you so you hit 60 and like well, you hit 50 and you start getting AARP like
I
mail.
got it. I got
Oh
it.
my
Don't
gosh.
worry.
But at 60, they're just like, so the retirement's coming on the horizon. I'm like, is it?
Is it
But
like, do
then
you
I'm
have
looking at,
to?
so I look at my retirement money and I'm like, what's money for anyway? It's for spending and doing things that feed your soul and feed your mind and feed your
Yeah.
heart. So, and oh my gosh, it's so fun. You'll laugh. So, when I'm driving my car on Saturday, there's like a retirement show that comes on and they talk about your money. And like, for some reason, I find it soothing because they talk about like, yeah, like, have your money, but what are your plans? What do you want to do? You just want to sit on a pile of money? Or do you want to prepare for that money and all the things that you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. So they're like, stay healthy as best you can, stay healthy, and think about the things that you want to do. Because they're like, there's lots of people who sit on a bunch of retirement money and didn't do anything. And now they're too old. And I'm like, and
Well,
that's
there's that.
not what I want to be. That's not who I want to be
Well, I think too, and this kind of goes into my next, because you've been in a very long-standing relationship. How long have you been
with my
with your
husband.
husband? Because I've seen
So,
pictures, like,
oh
and
my
they're from
gosh,
a really long time
long
ago.
time ago. So we met in 10th grade. And we started dating our senior year. So this is
Oh,
1982, 3. And then we went to different colleges, but we're still dating. And then I studied abroad and we're still dating, but we were free to date other people because I'd rather you date someone now than when we're married. So,
well, yeah.
yeah.
I was
So
like,
that
I was
was,
like, that's like,
so I'm
it's a
like,
given.
yeah. So like do that. And then we got married in 1990 and we've been together ever since. Hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are very different.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I just applaud. I think it's great. I think everybody's always looking for the same thing. And I always joke with Corey, I'm just like, if you wanted to date yourself, you probably should have, because we're
Right.
we're very different
Very
in a lot
different.
of ways. But I think it works, and I think it's totally okay. I think when you accept that that person is different, you can find things
Yeah.
that actually are not so different.
Right.
What do you think the key is to a really super long-standing, long-term relationship? We live in a world where everything to me feels expendable.
Yeah.
I don't think relationships should be expendable. So what do you think makes it work?
I would say, well, for better or for worse, we grew up together. And everybody's like, oh, it's so cute. It is, but it's also not because when you're young and dumb, you make a lot of mistakes and you say
Oh
things
yeah.
that are hurtful because you don't know any better. And you're not respecting the fact that you met at 18. Are you serious? Like you don't have much figured out. And so you have all those memories.
Right.
And so you carried those with you, like the ways that you were struggling and fighting and trying to become yourselves and trying to get that other person to be along for that ride.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So that's the downside. The upside is you grew up together. So you have the same memories and you
Yeah.
watch the same shows and you knew the same people and you learned to
Oh
love each
yeah.
other through all the seasons. And I always say that seasons. And they're like, and you learn to be like, I was saying to somebody the other day, they're just like, how do you make it work? And I'm just like, you accept that there are not just months or days when you don't get along. There are seasons.
Yeah.
There are seasons there that can stretch into a very long time, and you just ride them out because you have an overarching, eclipsing love for each other. And you're like, I made a vow, so let's make this work, but understand that you are a different person you're separate from me. And he's like, he was in college and extrovert, Mr. Extrovert. And back then you thought an introvert meant a shy person. It doesn't. I was the
No.
introvert.
Yeah.
Introvert just means that party, that frat party that you went to, even though you weren't in a fraternity, wasn't fun for me.
It's
Like
not where you get your energy
I
from.
like this. I like going and meeting people one on one. And I said, everything else is waitressing. I call it because you're just basically, that's my term for it. It's like you're bouncing from table to table in person, but you're
Yeah.
never really spending time with people. So it was working together and realizing that's you and that makes me happy, but that that's not who I am and that's okay. And learning that there was things about me, okay, I'm not going to become that person because you can be happy without me being that person. And I will be definitely unhappy being someone pretending that I'm that person that wants to do all that and being okay with that.
I think that's not as found as much these days. Like I said, things are expendable.
Yeah.
People don't want to take the work and the time
Right.
that it takes to put into that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a beautiful thing when you find that,
Yeah.
and you find somebody who has that much patience. And writing out the
It's
seasons can be hard, man. Like
definitely,
that can
yeah.
be super hard, and trying to remember in your soul, I do love this person. I do love this person. like
I wanted to
so
hit the
much.
back of his head like 5 minutes ago, but I'm good now.
Well, yeah. Well, and that's
It is.
completely normal.
Yeah.
But I also think that going along the lines of like how like we have to be whole within ourselves and taking that time to do our passions, we have to take the time to give to the relationship as well.
Yeah.
We have to balance tons of balls, but that's also
Yeah.
one that when you're raising kids and you're working and you're trying to do all these things, I think sometimes the relationship starts to fall because people
Well,
aren't giving
and you always hear
it what it
about like, oh,
needs.
grandma and pap, had this long relationship and they never fought. I'm like, really? But I think life was simpler and there weren't as
Yes.
many demands on yourself and there weren't many demands on each other because there wasn't as many possibilities. I mean, my daughter is a doctor and she did this entire dissertation on how possibilities are awesome, but they also make you frozen because then you can't decide. And I think sometimes we're frozen with the possibilities. And so like, oh, well, so and so down the street's doing all this stuff, so what do I get to do? And why
Yeah.
don't you make that possible? Why are you standing in my way? And I
Yeah.
think that you can be frozen with possibilities too and be completely unsatisfied because you always feel like there's something else you could be doing.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that's entered the conversation now with all of us, even at my age, just understanding where you are, what's possible, and being happy in your moments. And I think it's really, really hard
Yes.
for people now to be happy in their moments and being like, look around you.
Got to
It's
take
like,
that class on gratitudes, man.
yes, and breathe and just see, like, wow, all of this could leave, all of this could be gone. Be happy with what you have.
And being able to look at the positive side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you have patience in your relationships, you remind yourself of the good things, even
Mm-hmm.
when you are pissed
Yeah.
or hurt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn how to communicate with each other in a way that is communicating in love. And I heard something that said, like, speak to me like I'm someone you love. And
I
that
like that.
is, a key to that. And to be able to go through these seasons and not crumble,
Yeah,
and
I
fall
really,
apart is like, you treat, if you say I love you, then that's how we should be treating. And that goes for friendships
yeah.
or anything else. You wouldn't treat your dog like that. Like, so
Definitely not.
definitely not.
But then you don't love me like my
Yeah.
dog does either. So that.
There is that. There
Right.
is definitely that. I'm like, nobody loves me as much as my dog
No
does.
one. No one.
So sorry, you're gonna have to be like second place, but
Right.
that's just the way it is. But I think that that's life was more simple. We didn't have all of these pressures. We sure as hell didn't have social media pushing these narratives on
It's,
everyone,
yeah.
and it just
And
makes
it's
everybody like super
crazy.
confused.
It makes people confused, makes them crazy. For younger people, there's definitely, the FOMO and like, it could be event driven, it could be work driven, like, oh, that person has a better job than I have and they're living this life that I'm not living, and I'm like, get to be me where you have fear of not missing out, where you're like, I really want to miss out on a lot of things right now.
It changes.
It definitely
Your
changes.
perspective changes, your focus changes, but honestly, I'm so glad I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
so glad I'm in that space now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It is we could probably talk for
We could.
hours,
Yep, we
hours and
could.
hours. Thank you guys so much for joining us as well. If you are watching, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel. We can also be found on Apple and Spotify. You can find more information about all of our programs, channels, and everything on our website at www.allgreatthings.life. And join us next time here on All Things Pink.
You gotta get out there and explore.